Are you ready? High voltage is upon us. Join our hosts, Chris and Sean, while they turn up the voltage.
Welcome back to Dadnarok High Voltage. This is Sean.
And this is Chris. Wow, what a start.
Well, it's been a bit since we've done a plain Jane high voltage episode.
Yeah, no guests, just us. Wow, this
No
is
guests, no after show. We're not talking about a TV show or anything.
I'm already missing an after show.
Yeah.
I missed that we had nothing really to watch today.
Yeah.
No, like watching it twice, putting together some overly complicated notes and doing clips, and my Friday felt empty. Yeah, it felt really empty.
Well, I did watch the latest episode of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers before we hopped on here.
I am 2 episodes behind now, and if that can't be good.
Hey, spoiler alert! Some old ducks showed up.
Oh, it's about time. Okay, now I have a reason to go ahead and watch, because I'm waiting for it. Like, we talk about some shows that are a slow burn to actually start being be good.
Right.
This show is the definition of slow burn.
Yeah, you guys have noticed we're not doing the Mighty Ducks after show. We were pretty excited about it. We saw the trailer and stuff, but it's like old school Disney, where it's made for maybe like a 10-year-old or something. So
you're talking about like Disney Channel Disney.
It's kind of Disney Channel Disney. But it's got Emilio Estevez, it's got, decent cast and stuff. It's not that it's bad or anything. It's just like you compare it to Falcon and Winter Soldier or whatever, and it's kind of a lesser.
Oh, you're being way too nice.
Oh, so you actually think it's bad?
I don't like it at all. I mean, I'm watching it.
That you've said like, well, I can't. It's a slow
I'm watching
burn.
it for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah,
I wanted to watch it like yesterday, and I had nothing else going on. I just never watched it. And
okay.
I mean, I'm always 1 episode behind because I watch them on Thursdays. So, I mean, now I got to dedicate almost 2 hours to it. See, now I'm getting into dangerous territory.
Yeah.
Because I don't
The further you fall
enough.
behind, the less that you're going to want to catch up.
Exactly. But we're not here to talk about that. We're going to do a whole breakdown of that. Yeah, that dumpster fire, in my opinion.
Oh, my gosh. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's not good in my mind. But
how do you really feel about it?
We're here to talk about some Mortal Kombat. Oh,
Mortal Kombat!
Get over here. Oh, man. Now what do you think? When you went into, how high of a bar did you put for Mortal Kombat?
Okay, well, I just wanted something. Honestly, I think with these fighting games, sometimes there's like these ultra gritty, realistic takes on it, which I don't want at all. Like, I don't want Mortal Kombat, but like when your contestants are like throwing fireballs at each other and shit, like
there should be no reality to it.
There's like I get if you want to ground it in some Earth realm is like like our Earth. I get that, but like as soon as you get to Otherworld and all these crazy characters, like I want to see some like mystical Lord of the Rings stuff, like big magic, you know what I mean? Stuff like that fits with the games, because that's how the games are and have always been. So that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a good time. I was looking for cool special effects. I was looking for good fights, and I was looking for to keep fairly close and consistent to what the games are. And I think for me that the movie met that criteria for me. How about you?
I'm a little more on the other side of that. I mean, I wanted more. They didn't give me enough of the crazy. Like, I wanted the crazy.
Right.
And I felt like there was parts of the movie that were just completely disjointed or force-fed to feed a narrative. And I didn't like what they did with some of the characters. I mean, I like Sonya Blade. She is a major character in the games, and I felt like she was an afterthought in the movie until the very end when she killed. Spoiler alert, guys. We are talking spoilers, by the way.
Yeah.
When she killed Kano at the end. But
with Mortal Kombat, I mean, they seem to always come back, from the nether realms and,
Yeah, well, that's what was one of the questions when I started talking to someone at work, is like when they were taken back to the other realm or whatever it was. They were all taken back in that black mist.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, to me, I don't think any of them are dead.
I think we'll definitely see Kano again. With how much of a fan favorite, I've heard a lot of like disparaging reviews. Like some people were into it, some people were not so into it. But I think everybody agreed that like Kano was hilarious, and they loved just how Australian and just how funny he was.
Yeah, no, I liked Kano's character. I mean, he was just your typical just jackwagon.
Yeah,
and I mean,
he was good at it.
Yeah, no, it fit him perfect. I mean, it was awesome.
Right.
But like I said, the Sonya Blade, I mean, I felt like her character deserved a lot more than they actually gave her.
I do have two big gripes about this movie. So the main character of Cole, I think, as far as protagonists go, like, I think they added him in here for a very specific reason, because a lot of the kids that played Mortal Kombat back in the mid 90s, they're you and I now, they're dads. Yeah. So they're like, well, let's make this guy a dad ultimate fighter that the nostalgic, dads out there can be like, oh yeah, let's root for the dad. Even the kids always like, Dad, use your uppercut. Like,
Yeah.
They wanted to do that kind of thing. And honestly, I don't think they should have created a new character to be the protagonist. They should have, like, the roster of Mortal Kombat characters
is monstrous.
Over 11 games and 3 decades of games. Mm-hmm. Just pick one of those people.
Yeah,
you don't need to make up a new character.
Well, they were trying to. This is what I was talking about. They were trying. They force fed a narrative to feed the story.
Yeah.
And it was the very beginning, Ben-Han, and everything, and Sub-Zero, and that whole deal. And the baby girl, which would have been, a descendant of this Cole character. Right. And that's why he was still there. And it, like I said, it felt forced. It was like, you didn't need to force that narrative, but they were really, all that was just to build on, the Sub-Zero Scorpion fight at the end, which was fantastic, by the way.
Yes.
But it took a lot to get to that.
I loved the opening of it when it opened up in like feudal Japan, and we see Scorpion before he's Scorpion and how he died, and he kind of became Scorpion in the Nether Realm or whatever, or in hell, basically. And everything with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I really, really liked. Like, I thought it was really well done. You bought the tension and the ancient hatred between those two guys. Yeah. Like, that hatred ran deep even before the Mortal Kombat. Like, those two were at it in different, rival clans. I thought that was cool. Like, more of that, less of this Cole guy and more of that kind of thing.
Now, what'd you think of the changing of, when he grabbed that weapon and he tied the rope around it and he started throwing it? Well, we all knew what that was going to become.
Yeah.
But they changed it from the whole, him putting his hand out and the thing coming out of his hand and shooting across.
Oh, I didn't mind that at all. That was fine by me.
Well, if we're going like full, like lightning, fireballs and everything,
right?
Give me that. That was one of the things I loved about the '95 version.
Yeah.
Of that, when he was in that field, and I think it was him and Johnny Cage.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't Cage, because Cage fought Goro.
Right.
He broke his glasses. I forget exactly who he was fighting. But it started running around, and the way he got away from him is he dodged it, and it splatted on one of the trees. And then he pulled it, get over here, and he brought it back.
Right.
So, I mean, that's like a visual that I want to see out of Scorpion.
Yeah. That was funny how they like forced Scorpion to say "get over here," even though he didn't speak a lick of English in the whole movie, except that one point where he came back and he's like, "Get over here." It's like they dubbed it right from the game. But it's like, you can't not do that. There are certain like greatest hits of Mortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't have Scorpion saying "get over here," or some stuff like that, or at least hear a little bit of that techno theme, then it just doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat.
Dude, the best, like the fighting was fun. I mean, I think I even told you, within the first like 30 minutes, I was sitting with my wife watching this, and she's watching it kind of very loosely. She's got her phone up, kind of doing her own thing,
right?
Humoring me, for the matter, just for lack of a better way of putting it.
Yeah, she's been good about that recently, but she's actually enjoyed a lot of the Marvel stuff.
Oh, she loves the Marvel stuff.
Yeah,
so it's her pick for a movie tomorrow night. So I'm curious where we're going with it. If she's going to try to torture me because of what I did to her last week, or if she's going to pull a Marvel movie out, which. We'll wait and see. We'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah.
But when it came to like the fighting, it was fun. Like I said, in the first 30 minutes, I think I said this movie is terrible, laughing.
Yeah.
Like I was laughing like terrible. It's like for me, it was hitting the it's so bad this is fun movie. And I think sometimes it's there like that's how I find the first Mortal Kombat to me. This didn't reach first Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 95 to me is still beyond this. I thought the actors fit the characters better. I thought the actual storyline, which there was a storyline. This one here, I felt like it was wandering aimlessly, honestly.
Okay.
That was really, because they were talking about the actual tournament the whole way. And there was no
tournament.
There was no tournament, and we haven't gotten to the tournament because I think that's going to be in either movie 2 or even maybe movie 3. This one here was all about assassinating the heroes.
That was my champions. That was my second gripe about this movie. The first one was forcing this protagonist on us, even though I don't think it was done like badly or anything. Like, it was an okay character for a generic movie, but you didn't need to do it for Mortal Kombat. But that was my other gripe, is just like all this talk about the tournament. We never even got to the damn tournament.
Yeah.
And the third act felt really rushed. Like, they spent a lot of time like, okay, this is this character, this is this character. Here's the history of this tournament in the past. I've been studying it. I have this wall full of details about it. Oh, here's this new character. They run into was it not Kano, Liu Kang, or the one they come across in the desert.
Liu Kang, you're right.
Yeah, and Raiden and stuff. So they build upon character, and finally they get to the third act, and Cole is just like, hey, I found my Kana, let's just fight them wherever, and you fight this one, and that's it. And they really rushed. Like, some of those final battles were like nothing. Like the Kano one over the bridge with that, one guy with a big mallet or whatever, like that was over within like 30 seconds. Like, and in a Mortal Kombat movie, I think it's okay to have your first act introduce all the characters.
Yeah.
The second act introduce the plot of what the tournament is and all this stuff. And that entire third act needs to be like fight.
They need to lean on the fight and not worry about the length of it.
Yeah, and that third act needs to be long because I want to see the fights. Like, I want each fight to feel important. Like, okay, here's these two characters. Let's see what happens here.
I
want to feel the importance of it.
That I thought was fantastic. And it was Kung Lao. When that one, I can't remember her name, she was flying in.
Yeah, it's like the Harthy character.
Yeah, he
Kung
flipped
Lao,
over.
I loved how they did Kung Lao. I thought his stuff with the hat and stuff, I was like, dude, that's cool.
It was awesome. He sits there, he puts the hat on, brushes the brim.
Yes.
Flawless victory.
I liked him and Liu Kang, how they were like kind of the students of Raiden, and they were kind of together. And
okay, hold on, we gotta stop this. It's Raiden.
Oh, it's not Raiden?
Yeah, it's Raiden. Yes.
Okay, it's Raiden. Yeah, I think Raiden might be a character in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah,
we'll
get flambéed if I'm surprised no one has said anything. We have one watcher right now. We got to correct ourselves.
All right, fair enough. Raiden, I got it.
Cool. But yeah, man. I mean, what do you think of the whole like Jax thing, like freezing his arms and basically we think he's dead. He kicks him over, and then we find him alive in Raiden's temple there. And
I like that. I thought that was fine. As far as like a character backstory, coming from Sub-Zero, I thought, well, that's another thing. I thought like the effects were really good. Like all of Sub-Zero's ice stuff was cool. Yeah. I thought, and some of the fight stuff where Sub-Zero like froze the blood of Scorpion and like stabbed him with his own blood. And the stuff was a little bit like kind of like a horror movie where he was coming up on Cole and Cole's family when they were out to like that cafe at nighttime, and it starts to get cold. And you just see him walking up the street and just like bringing down like sheets of ice down to the ground. That stuff was scary and imposing. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I mean, the effects there, just watching him walk.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. There are nuggets in this movie which are fantastic.
Right.
And it's definitely a fun movie. I mean, I think we spent a little bit of time trashing it here, but it's a fun movie. It is a Mortal Kombat movie. You're not seeing an Oscar-winning movie, so we have to have our expectations set at a level that we know what we're getting into. I think it just lacked on the Mortal Kombat, and if I'm reading you right, and that's pretty much where I was. I wanted more fights because that ending when it was Cole and Scorpion and Sub-Zero and they're all fighting like in that gym, which was all covered in ice.
Mm-hmm.
Was fun. I mean, that was one of the best parts of the movie because we actually got fighting for an extended period of time.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of if there was any other standout characters. Yeah, I think Sonya Blade was kind of done a little bit dirty. Some of the who's the main guy? Is it Shere Khan, or no, that's the tiger from from Jungle Book. You know, the main baddie. I don't know. Should put character names on here.
Sang Song.
Yeah. His crew was they were kind of very much glossed over. They didn't really get a lot of introduction.
We didn't get a whole lot from Outworld at all.
Yeah. Look, I liked it enough to where I would love to see a sequel. Where you don't have to worry about all this introduction of characters in the world and stuff. You just jump right into it. That's what I would like to see.
I thought the movie was glaringly missing Johnny Cage, and we know he was. And they even came out and said the reason he wasn't in this film was because it would have distracted from the narrative that they were pushing at the beginning, the whole origin story behind Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and it would have distracted from that. There was no way they could have fit that into a 90, 100-minute, movie.
Yeah.
So that's why at the very end they were looking to find other champions, which is going to be Johnny Cage, and there's been 2 rumors out there that I've seen that who want to play him.
I've heard one. Okay.
One's The Miz.
I've heard that's the one I heard. Yeah.
And the other one is Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, Ryan. No,
not Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry, not Ryan Reynolds. Oh, he plays Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Is Deadpool.
Yeah. No, I was right. Why am I saying guess myself?
I don't know.
He's the second one.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. Ryan Reynolds would just be a distraction, honestly, because he's always Ryan Reynolds.
Or you think it's too big? Yeah. Would it be too much? Like he'd be almost being Deadpool?
Yeah. That's too much.
I don't think The Miz. I think that he's too. I think of Johnny Cage. I think tall, lanky, and just kind of like full of himself. Which the guy that plays The Miz is full of himself,
right?
But he doesn't fit the other portion of that character.
Yeah, it would have to be. I would kind of be disappointed if they didn't do some kind of stunt casting. Like if they just hired some like no name, 25-year-old actor or something to be the new Johnny Cage. I would rather see it. And the way they played in the more recent games is that he's kind of almost he's aging out of those action roles, or they don't really make action movies like they used to anymore. And they think of him as kind of this Hollywood washout, and he goes into the tournament to prove that he's still got it, that kind of thing. That's what I would like to see. And that's what I think would feel more appropriate these days, because they don't make action movies like they do anymore. Yeah. The way, like the old Jean-Claude Van Damme stuff, which he was based on originally in the 90s. But yeah, they definitely lean towards that. There was a big preview. There was a big movie poster
at the end.
Yeah.
I was pumped to see that. I thought that was awesome to see that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm in for it too.
Okay.
I'm absolutely in for it too. Like I said, I dumped on the movie quite a bit there, but as a whole, it was fun.
Definitely the second best Mortal Kombat, right? Better than Annihilation.
Kinda. Oh, see, this maybe I'm not in the same case.
You are an OG for those 90s.
Dude, yeah. I even love Annihilation. It's not good. It's not good at all. But it's as campy as a Mortal Kombat movie should be. And that's kind of
should they have gone campier in this movie?
Yes. I don't want anything realistic.
So it wasn't goofy enough for you.
Yeah, no. Give me snakes coming out of hands. I wanted to see Scorpion. Do you know how he gave the fire? Yeah. I wanted full skull.
You wanted to see a full skull.
I wanted full skull burning him. That's what I wanted. They gave me close.
Yeah.
But they didn't give me the campy enough.
Okay.
I didn't get a mountain in Outworld when they're going up and they see Garu, up top.
Yeah.
Kind of roaring.
Right.
Like, and everyone cheering for him. I didn't get any of that. That's
how did you like Goro? How they did him with the CG and stuff, with that fight with Cole and his backyard or whatever?
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I don't think we got enough from him. We didn't get the Goro that who he is. This Cole character wouldn't have just all of a sudden just taken him down the way he took him down.
They really needed a nut shot on Goro to really satisfy your nostalgia.
But yeah, I like the
Those
rating.
$500 sunglasses. Asshole.
Exactly. Like Raiden to me, he didn't feel like Raiden. He didn't feel old enough. He didn't feel like Raiden in the original one in 95 was all about saving Earth's realm. This Raiden felt like an old, just grumpy old man that didn't even really care anymore, but it was his job to care.
Yeah, we didn't, and that might have just been a fault of us really not getting a lot of Raiden. We didn't get very much of him. Like, he walked away with the baby in the very beginning, and he was just popped in here and there, like, this is who I am. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of he wasn't even the one to like explain the history of the tournament or anything. We got a lot of that from like Sonya Blade up front.
Yeah. And when did he become Beam Me Up Scotty? When could he like transport people around the world?
I don't know.
I missed that too. It's like all of a sudden he can just shoot a lightning bolt and you can walk through it.
Yeah. I think, well, look, I think it was good enough where it deserves a sequel. I think they can honestly, I don't know what they were thinking about introducing this Cole guy, but if they just decided to just go away from him completely as a character in the second one, I'd be fine with that.
Well, I think he's the one that's going to go find Johnny Cage.
I know, they kind of like forced that now, but
so he's got to be in the next one. So
but I am looking forward to a next one. I hope that they actually make a next one. I think this one did well enough during the pandemic to warrant a sequel, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think we'll get into that here in a minute. But yeah, just they've got the character that signed on to play, I believe it's Sub-Zero, or 4 more additional movies.
Oh wow!
So they have a total of a 5-movie deal. Now all 5 movies may not be made,
right?
But he's got 4 more. So if they say they're going to move forward, they've got him under contract to come back for another 4 more movies.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait until they make enough movies where they start introducing the guest characters like Terminator and RoboCop and Freddy Krueger and Jason.
That's great.
That'll be real fun.
Well, guys, I mean, that's pretty much our rundown of the movie. That was fun. That's honestly our first time really even talking about it.
Yeah, you and I have avoided talking about it.
Yeah, you shot me a Mortal Kombat text while I was at work once. I started laughing. But I mean, as a whole, it sounds like, I mean, if you had to give it a number, like you know how like it's a Cineplex number is like 1 through 10 or whatever, what would you rate it?
Out of 10, I think it's a strong 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's high, I think.
I think that is high for you. Yeah, it sounds like I was higher on it than you were.
I'm going a week 4.
Oh my god, it wasn't that bad.
I'm going a week 4 on it. It was 5 is the middle of the road for me. So 5 is something that I absolutely go back and watch again.
Right.
This 4 is like, okay, if I find time, I'll watch again.
Yeah.
So I'm not hunting this down again to watch. I'll absolutely watch it again probably before, let's say, whenever they release another one.
Right.
Whenever that will be, so I can kind of refresh this in my head.
I can't judge movies like that anymore. Will I watch it again? Because I just don't rewatch movies anymore. Even if I love a movie, if it's 10 out of 10, I'm probably not going to rewatch it for a long time.
Yeah. That's fair enough. But we wanted to kind of go ahead and compare like Mortal Kombat to Godzilla vs Kong.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, these are, when it comes down to, these are the first real like test cases. We're in the COVID era. Everyone, the shots are out there. Everyone can get them. Theaters are opening more. So I mean, we have a good idea of like what the box office is going to look like. So I went ahead and I just kind of pulled up Godzilla vs Kong. Now we got to keep in consideration that opened up on a Wednesday. So we got a couple extra days for the weekend. So they got 2 extra days for the extended weekend.
Right.
And that opened up at 48.1 million for the weekend, which was
5-day weekend, right?
For the 5-day weekend, yes.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic for even pre pandemic. I mean, this movie here actually has outgrossed King of the Monsters, which is crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Then I went ahead and pulled Mortal Kombat's numbers, and like I said, it didn't have 5 days, but it was 23.3 million.
Right.
So if you're just comparing the 2 numbers, it doesn't look like Mortal Kombat actually held a rock to it. But if you knock off 2 days,
yeah,
it's gonna be a little more comparable.
Yeah, it was comparable. I mean, that's the exact word, because it's like you had pretty much half the time to get eyeballs on the movie, and it made about half that money in that halftime. So that's understandable. Plus, I think Godzilla vs. Kong was like the first big movie of 2021 where people were really like, I haven't seen a big new movie in a while. I haven't been to the theater in a year. I have got to catch it. And the same thing you did, where it's like, I've got to see this in the theater.
I have to see this in the theater. Yes.
And Mortal Kombat, I think, was probably less of a draw to get that same kind of reaction, that same kind of feeling.
No, and that leads into our next conversation here, because I had to see Godzilla vs. Kong in the theater. I felt like I wasn't going to get the feeling at home, and truly I didn't. I tried watching it again. It just didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
But Mortal Kombat, I felt like it may have benefited from me on the big screen, because every movie is going to benefit from seeing it in the theater.
Yeah.
But I was sitting in my living room watching it, and I didn't feel like I was missing like the scope of it sitting in my living room.
There was one point too where the fight between Kano and Sonya Blade and her trailer towards the end, it was so dark that I could barely see what the heck was happening in that fight, which was kind of in my head. I was like, wow, I wonder if it would be this dark in the theater, if I'd be able to distinguish what the heck's going on. But yeah, so that's the detriment of watching these things sometimes at home. But as far, I think it did fairly well. It didn't do as well as Godzilla vs. Kong, but it did, fair enough. I think it stood its ground. I think I know the answer, but what did you enjoy more?
Godzilla and Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. My household has become a MonsterVerse household.
Right.
Skylar's watching them. Zach's watching them. He's watching the old, like black and white ones. He's going on like Netflix and finding the old stuff.
Yeah.
My phone is flooded with Godzilla just theme songs.
Right.
It's like I drive me nuts. I want to find a song I want to listen to, and I got to search through all the playlists that he's put together.
That's funny.
What he's got going on. I'm gonna sneeze here.
Oh. I wish I had the Godzilla scream to play over your sneeze.
But so that, I mean, King of the Monsters got me pumped for Godzilla vs. Kong.
Every time you say King of the Monsters, I think you're going to say King of the Hill. I'm just like, it makes me visualize Hank Hill like going through a city and knocking down a building.
Bobby!
He's got that propane fire coming out of his mouth.
And getting some propane accessories. But yeah, I mean, Godzilla vs. Kong was clearly mine. And I like I said, I watched Mortal Kombat. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
But looking at the HBO Max numbers now, this is where, to me, it was kind of telling on who wanted to see this movie in the theaters and who didn't.
Yeah.
Like Godzilla vs. Kong pulled 3.6 million households watched at least 5 minutes of it in the first 5 days.
Right.
Which, okay, I mean, HBO Max, good on you. I mean, you're succeeding in both markets here. I mean, quite frankly. But Mortal Kombat outdrew it in shorter period of time. They had 1.7 million on Friday alone.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if you were to add that 1.7 million people from HBO Max into the theater, could you imagine what the actual weekend draw would have been? So it would have been it would have been a shorter time, but even closer to Godzilla vs. Kong when in the box office.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide, like, it's kind of hard to gauge like what would be a successful, views over the internet. And the only thing I really know how to compare it to is maybe YouTube videos. Like, what if some YouTube creator released a video over the weekend and within that weekend it got 3 million views? I mean, that would be an insane for a YouTube creator.
Yeah.
So I guess that's really the only thing I can gauge it off of as far as internet premieres, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty dang popular.
I mean, but they also got 3.8 million in that short period of time as well.
Yeah.
So they went ahead and outdrew Mortal Kombat. I mean, Mortal Kombat outdrew Godzilla vs. Kong on HBO Max in a shorter period of time. So the HBO Max was 3.6 for 5 days.
Yeah.
3.8 was just the weekend.
Right.
For Mortal Kombat, which tells me, I think it's telling in a way. I think more people wanted to see Godzilla vs. Kong on the big screen. And more people weren't willing to pay extra in the theater to see Mortal Kombat. They were willing to watch it, but they didn't want to make the extra effort of going to the theater to see it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And that's probably fair as far as I don't know the budget of these two movies, but I gotta imagine that Warner Brothers spent a lot more money on Godzilla versus Kong than they did for Mortal Kombat.
I think they almost had the return on Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
I think it was like 100 million or something like that. It was low.
right.
No, I think it was below 100 million, honestly. So if they keep the budget in that ballpark and they keep on pulling in, 3, 4, 500 million, it's going to make it
a pretty successful franchise for them.
Yeah, it's going to make it profitable for them. So we may see 5 movies if they can keep that budget under 100 million.
Yeah.
But the further they go, the more CG they maybe, going to be pushing. And then
you start to get into the weeds with the characters and like, oh, they must introduce that character in the 2000s because I don't remember.
Yeah. So, I mean,
start to lose the nostalgia a little bit.
So, I mean, what do you think of it? Do you think, Mortal Kombat? Okay, so if we were in normal times and 100% theaters open, which one of these two if you had to pick, say it was Friday night, which one would you have gone and seen?
I mean, just for the sheer theatrical experience, it's bigger. I want to see it on a bigger screen. It's got to be Godzilla versus Kong. Like, if I hadn't seen either previously and I had the choice, I was just out one night between the two of them, it would be Godzilla versus Kong. But it's not as far of a gap as you would think, because I was into that second trailer, especially the first trailer for Mortal Kombat. I didn't think was all that great. The second one looked better, and just the sheer nostalgia of it. Like, you and I weren't watching King Kong or Godzilla movies in the 90s. This is a fairly new thing that not that the franchises are new, but our interest in them is fairly new. So there is that nostalgia draw for Mortal Kombat, which is a big plus. But I think if given that option, just random night at the theater, it probably would have been Godzilla versus Kong.
Obviously, I think if all things were equal, I would have flipped the other way.
Really?
I think I would have been Mortal Kombat. Because quite frankly, if I'm being honest, I couldn't care less when Godzilla King of the Monsters was released.
Yeah.
There was not a ounce of like interest to go see that in the theater. So if I'm looking at it and we're in normal times and things are just coming out like normal, I know Mortal Kombat.
Right.
I know there's that nostalgia. We've already, settled on how diehard I am on the 95 version.
Yeah.
I would probably
even Annihilation.
Yeah, even Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Even there was a lot of bad about that. But I think I would go Mortal Kombat over Kong Godzilla. Godzilla vs. Kong, just for the reason that prior to all this, there was no MonsterVerse even remotely in my house, and then it just because of situation and me pumping it to Zach, and then Zach looking up the other movies, and then just kind of going down that rabbit hole as he has. That's the only reason it's become big in my house.
Well, there you go. I mean, interesting. The two big HBO Max releases here in the first portion of 2021. And honestly, there's the Matrix sequel that's coming out later. They had scheduled Dune, but I think Dune is going to be that's going to be interesting. That might switch back to exclusively theatrical. I think they were talking about for Dune because they raised such a stink about it. But yeah, I mean, these couple of movies were some of the most I was looking forward to for this whole slate over 2021 on HBO Max. They've released some other movies, but not to the height of these two.
Not to this. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I was pumped. I mean, the movies we have
Space Jam
coming.
Yeah, we do.
But for me, that's going to be in the theater. That's 100% nostalgia. I've got to take the kids to go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know what I'm going to drag Janessa along because I'm not taking both kids to the theater by myself.
Right.
But yeah, that's going to be in the theater. I can't do that at home. Now I'll rewatch it at home. I can see myself rewatching that probably a few times.
Yes.
Just because it is what it is. And I'm not going into that thinking I'm getting an Academy Award winning movie either. I'm getting Bugs Bunny playing basketball.
I should take Verona to go see that in the theater. Yes. I think I already got her a Lola Bunny T-shirt, so she's aware of the property. She's watched the original before too. So yeah, that might be something I do.
We need to do, yeah. So what we need to both do is record on something with us walking in with our families. A short video I'll mash together.
Yeah.
And then we'll both have like our response to it immediately afterwards.
Right.
And then put up a quick video. Yeah, no, that's go.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that.
Because the last time I'd been to a theater was Sonic the Hedgehog, where we took her to see that, and she enjoyed that. So
yeah, so your first time back would be with Verona.
Yeah.
My first time back in the theater was with Zach.
Right. Yep.
So you got to bookend this, this pandemic here.
That's right.
But what do you say we do some pod decks? What do you think? Do some questions, some
pod
beefy
decks,
stuff?
I happen to have them right here.
Oh, look at that! You always go when you're holding your decks.
Would you rather? What the heck?
What the heck are you holding?
Well, I'll ask you. Would you rather or what the heck?
Let's do would you rather first here. Just pull a random card.
Right, would you rather? All right. Pull a rando card. Would you rather spend the night in a dumpster or a porta potty?
Follow-up question. Is the dumpster full or empty?
It's got to be a full dumpster. Come
on.
The porta potty's full too.
No, give me dumpster.
Dumpster, okay.
Because at least it's not steaming. Steaming pile of poo and flies and
God, yeah, the flies are bad. I actually got to go. I'm probably gonna go with the porta potty.
See, the dumpster, I can have the top open. I can have fresh air. In a porta potty, that door doesn't stay open. It is.
No, but you got a little vented, screened window kind of thing. Normally.
Yeah, no, you're not getting a breeze in that window.
Well, the only thing is, like, I've been in a porta potty. I've never been inside of a full dumpster before. And if it's some rando dumpster, you don't know what the heck is in there. You could have like needles or like you could have feces in there. You have no idea. Dirty diapers. Like, at least you know what's in there, and you're not in it. You know what I mean? I'm not sleeping in the bottom of a porta potty. I'm sleeping where the seat is.
Dude,
so
I could barely stand standing in a porta john for like 30 seconds while I use the bathroom. I can't take the smell.
That's true. I guess that's the real deal breaker, isn't it? It's like, how bad is that stench?
Yeah, middle of August. During during a music festival.
Oh God!
Took this to a level didn't need to go.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
What do you expect? Okay, let's do the other one. So let's go. What the heck?
All right, what the heck? Let's see at random. Do you have a favorite coffee mug? If so, what's on it, or what makes it your favorite?
Oh, that's easy for me. It's Janessa got me a Seven Dwarfs, and it's grumpy, and it just has the grumpy like on it, and it says grumpy underneath it. It's all Disney-esque.
Yeah.
It's just my favorite mug. No, I don't drink like hot coffee.
I don't either.
It's like my mug.
Right. My favorite mug. It's probably this one. My join the dark side. It's got like change and stuff in it. Like I'm with you. I drink iced coffee. I don't really drink hot coffee.
Yeah.
So to have a mug is not really something that interests me a lot. I usually use it for storage like that. But yeah, that's probably, I'd have to select that one. There you go.
If I want to like have like milk and like Oreos, something like that, that's what I'll use my mug for him. But
there you go.
Outside of that, yeah, that's about it.
Coffee. So you and I are both. Is it just like you don't like hot coffee, or it's just you don't want to wait to drink it? Or I don't like hot coffee because it's brewed like really super hot, and I just don't deal with like super hot stuff, even like super hot food. Like I have like kind of a low tolerance for it. And if I'm thirsty or if I want my wake up juice in the morning, like I don't have to wait on it. Like I don't want for it to wait to cool off. Like I just want to start drinking it.
Oh, you don't want to hear it crack open and start drizzling in the pot. The best part of waking up.
No. Oh, the smell of hot coffee.
Oh yeah. I'm really weird. Like I don't want hot in the summer. I just don't. Mm-hmm. So if I get a hot cup of coffee, which I will drink periodically, it'll be a Dunkin'. I'm not making it myself, and it's fine. It takes a little longer the drink.
Yeah.
An iced coffee just feels it's like drinking something cold first thing in the morning, when like a cold thing, a drink of water down, goes in your stomach. It just feels refreshing immediately.
Yeah.
There's no like sipping it or, making sure you don't hit the brakes too fast and you burn your face.
Right. Yeah. And I got weaned onto iced coffee from Dunkin' specifically, which I always equated to like just like grown up chocolate milk. Like they make, I mean, literally between the syrup and all the sugar and stuff, like you got to be careful too. If it's not mixed properly, you get the straw to the very bottom of it where all the stuff's settled. You take that first sip and it's just like, like it's
I
so
stir mine.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to stir mine every time. It's like,
I've actually come down from the super sweet now. Like now I make my own iced coffee in the Keurig where I fill up. I got that Wawa big travel mug. I fill it up with ice all the way and brew fresh coffee on top of that. And I've got the creamer, so it's not as crazy as Dunkin' makes it. But
what we do is Janessa gets me the cold brew Dunkin' bags, and I put them in the quart of water, set them overnight, pull the bags out, fill the other quart with water, and then I put a certain amount of sugar in it. And then stir it up. Then I use whatever creamer I want. And I've actually grown to actually enjoy that almost more than actually like you said, it can, if you're not paying attention to what you're ordering, it can get super, super sweet at Dunkin'.
Yeah. And I have a high tolerance for sweetness, so sometimes it's even too much for me.
See, I don't. I mean, it's like, okay, like I can't get a coffee there sometimes and get a donut. It's just
it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. And I got to drink a ton of water to make sure I don't feel upset. My stomach doesn't get upset. Yeah,
my tolerance, it used to be a lot higher. It's getting less and less now. But I'm with you. Like even the donut, like I'll prefer like an old fashioned over like.
I got two old fashioned today. I had two old fashioned and I had a frozen caramel coffee, so no sugar.
Extra sugar wow! Added. Look at you. Well, but, all right. There's coffee talk. Oh,
there we go again. Luckily, I know I got my finger on the mute.
Yeah, good job. So that's going to do it for our pod deck segment. I think that's pretty much going to do it for our episode of High Voltage this evening. Anything else we should mention before we leave these fine folks?
What's some things we got coming up here? God, smoke it. I'm going to sneeze again.
Oh my God, I'll just handle it. So we got Loki premiering. We already did. We watched all of Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's over and done with. Of course, we're going to follow that up with an after show of Loki once that premieres. June 11th, I think, is the actual premiere date.
Yeah,
You're
June 11th.
Gone.
I'm going to be in Disney.
I expect you to join us live from Disney. You'll get on your phone. You okay there, pal?
Oh, no. I'm catching the vid. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm good.
So that's coming up June 11th. We still got a bit of time though. We got a full month of May. I know we've got the Bad Batch starting up May the 4th next week. I think you and I may, we
got to do something when it comes to May 4th. Yep.
Ted Lasso in July. We're definitely going to do an after show on that.
Then I think it's going to roll into Hawkeye.
Really? When's Hawkeye supposed to come out?
I think Hawkeye's going to be towards the mid to end of the year. Or close. I mean, that ends so the October timeframe probably.
Yeah.
And then it's going to get really like crowded on us. I mean, there's going to be, I know The Witcher's coming out. I know we're going to have The Mandalorian. We're going to have the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. I mean, The Boys, I think at some point. I mean, there's going to be a lot. I'm not sure about The Boys, but the timing seems about right. I'm not sure. So I know we're starting to get some word, like they're filming and doing things with it now. So I'm not sure if the timing would be, say, beginning of next year or end of this year.
So I'll bring something up with you. So Christina and I were actually watching a reality show. It's kind of like Big Brother. It's on Netflix. It's called The Circle, where all these people are in this big apartment building and they live in, it's one person per apartment, but they only communicate through like text messaging through their televisions. So they got some, they're like catfishing and anyway, but it's like an elimination game, where new contestants are brought on, and it's a very social game show kind of thing, reality show.
Okay.
Big Brother-esque. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up is because Netflix has this weird release schedule. The first season of The Circle came out and they just dumped it all at once. Like it came out like any other Netflix show. This year, though, they're releasing it in like 3 to 5 episode chunks every Wednesday. So Netflix is starting to break away from their dump it all at once format a little bit Do you think they'll release The Witcher all at once, or do you think The Witcher will come out and maybe they'll try this new like a couple episodes here, a couple episodes the following week?
There'll be a revolt
You think
drop it all once.
Okay.
Because there is an expectation now, fair or not,
right,
that Netflix has set. They're the ones who has caused this drop it all at once. Culture, this binge culture.
It's from Netflix.
It's from Netflix. So I don't think they can get away with it with The Witcher. They'll have to do it with another. I'm about to say they'd have to do it with, say, Stranger Things, but I think they couldn't do it. They have to do it with a big title.
Yeah.
But which one are they willing to get flogged for?
Right.
Because they're going to get beat. It's going to be terrible. Twitter is going to rip them to pieces.
Yeah.
When they decide to get away from the format that they have built their company on.
Yeah.
Because remember, just look at the history of Netflix when it was all, mail. And then they were getting away from mail. Remember the backlash that it was when they were getting away from mail and went just to streaming?
I remember that, yeah.
And then it went from I think it went to streaming and mail. So you had both options.
It was both, yeah, for a little bit.
And then they cut the other one off. And then all of a sudden, anytime that there's any type of price increase, or when they're getting ready to move a show or something, they've become, I don't know if there's a spot on that we can actually poke anymore that'll hurt. I mean, they've got to be. They're so embattled.
They are, yeah. They've definitely earned their place as the king of streaming. And they're somehow, even with all their spending and just how they throw all these shows out. Honestly, the advantage of Netflix may be because they just put so much content out there. And there are people that strictly, that's all they have is just Netflix. They just pay their Netflix. They don't have cable or any other streaming service. And they just rely on whatever crap Netflix decides to throw out there each and every week. But anyway, it may be hard for us to do a Witcher after show. Then we might have to just like binge watch it, maybe do the first half and talk about it, and then the second half and talk about it. But we definitely won't be able to do it in the format that we've done with Mandalorian and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah,
because the problem is that, like we were saying before, everyone's talking about it, then nobody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost
it's like a flash in the pan kind of thing, where if you have a week-to-week release, there's kind of a slower burn, and people talk about it.
You're talking about it for 2 months,
right?
Or you're talking about it for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't understand why Netflix prefers the 2 weeks over the 2 months.
Well, like you said, I think they're just trapped now. Like it wasn't a big deal or a big thing, and it kind of set them apart initially. And now they're kind of stuck in that format.
Yeah, now that Apple's releasing them weekly and Amazon Prime is doing weekly.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's doing HBO. I think HBO Max. No, they don't have any shows currently, like shows.
Not that I'm aware of.
I was thinking Disney Plus. That was the one that just. But they're all doing weekly releases, and they're all benefiting from those weekly releases.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, someone may subscribe to Disney Plus, binge watch, say, Falcon Winter Soldier, and then drop the service.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I don't think anyone's going to do that to Netflix.
Right.
I think if you have Netflix, you have Netflix. You're not just going to get it for The Witcher and then drop it afterwards. Or the percentage is going to be so small that they're not concerned about that person.
Yeah, in all honesty, I could have, because I watch Netflix so infrequently, because I really only watch kind of my specific shows, and they're not, they sometimes it's a year and a half between different seasons of them, that there have been times where I've considered just dropping it and picking it back up, but I never do. I don't know. It's hard to get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're used to it being there. Now, I mean, Janessa watches The Crown. I watch The Witcher. I want to catch up on Stranger Things, so I got to find some time to catch up on that. So when it comes out again, we can talk about it.
Plus, they have a lot of just random stuff that'll hit, like a documentary that looks good, or with Tiger King at the beginning of last year, that was a phenomenon.
I never watched it.
Well, yeah, you were in the minority there, because that burned pretty hot there for a month or so.
For a long while. I mean, they're making a movie out of it.
Yeah, they became memes for a bit. But anyway, that was just something I wanted to bring up with you.
No worries. But so we have Ted Lasso. I mean, that basically is the 23rd. So we go Loki, Lasso. We don't even skip a beat.
That's good.
And I mean, the rest of the the schedule is just to be determined. I mean, we're gonna have so much coming out. I think at a certain point we're going to have to decide, which one we roll with, which one we don't, which one are we excited to watch? Are we excited to watch She-Hulk or Ms. Marvel or Hawkeye? Which one do we want to hit? Because we want to make sure that we have enough space. So when Mandalorian season 3 comes out, because that's a must. That's a anchor to our show.
Right. Yeah.
Will we have time to cover that and Book of Boba Fett? I'm going to make an assumption that they're not going to overlap.
No. Yeah. Probably not.
And then eventually, I think come the beginning of the year, we're going to have all Star Wars is going to take. So right now, Marvel owns Disney Plus.
They do. Yeah.
And then I think it's going to flip. Then I think Disney Star Wars is going to take over. And I think it may do that flip-flop each year. One's going to be predominantly, and then the other one's, so they don't cannibalize each other.
Right. I think for the rest of the year, if we do run into issues where we're not sure about what to cover, maybe we could just throw a poll out there on Twitter and see where the interest lies.
Which one you guys want us to cover? But
yep.
I guess until then, you're watching us now. I mean, we do this 10 o'clock Friday night every week. We have a bunch of other content. Anytime a new trailer drops that's worth reacting to, we're right on top of that. We react to it, put it up. Our uncut podcast is up. So if you like watching a podcast that is just kind of
you see a little behind the scenes before and after we record. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just the unedited stuff. The edited stuff Sean does, it sounds amazing. This is the not so amazing part of it. But I guess, guys, until we see you again next week at 10 o'clock, shall we say just keep it cheesy?
Yes, let's say that. See ya.
Keep it cheesy.